What's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk about the difference between the angle of attack and the critical angle of attack. So right away, the angle of attack is the angle between the wing's chord line and relative wind. The wing's chord line, which is this dashed line going through the wing, and the relative wind. The wind, in this case, the wind that is approaching the wing. Now, for the critical angle of attack is the maximum angle between the wing's chord line and relative wind at which the wing can still produce lift. At which the wing can still produce lift. So again, the maximum angle. So here's the relative wind and here's the chord line. So after the wing reaches a maximum angle, it is not going to be able to pretty much produce lift anymore. Now, what happens if you exceed the angle of attack? Nothing unless you reach the critical angle of attack. Nothing unless you reach the critical angle of attack. Now, for the critical angle of attack, what happens if you exceed it? The plane will stall. The plane will stall. It doesn't mean that the plane is gonna start rapidly descending. No, but it's just not going to generate any more lift. So in other words, you're not going to be gaining any more altitude. Why? Because the plane is stalled. Why? Because we have pretty much what's this word? Because we exceeded the critical angle of attack. So remember, the angle of attack is the angle between the chord line and the relative wind. And the critical angle of attack is also the same thing, the angle between the relative wind and the chord line, but it's the maximum angle between the wing's chord line and relative wind at which the wing can still produce lift. At which the wing can still produce lift. What happens if you exceed it? Nothing, unless you reach the critical angle of attack. What happens if you exceed it? The plane will stall, meaning it's not going to produce any more lift.